Now, what is important in Hyflex is that, there is flexibility. Okay. If the student needs to stay at home, for instance, he or she can still participate in the discussion. Now, if the student would want to go to school, it's the same way. So there is flexibility on the part of the students. And what is, again, another important consideration in Hyflex is that it offers students choice. It's always the choice of the students. Hyflex has always been used in higher education. Okay. As I've said earlier, Hyflex was introduced by Dr. Beatty as a means to allow graduate students to have the option to continue to attend classes, whether on-site or online. And there has and this has been used primarily in universities or in higher education. There are certain challenges, but basically I'm sure that, um, Hyflex is now being explored. Hybrid or Hyflex is now being explored even in the lower grades. Now, there are certain challenges in using Hyflex. Okay? A study conducted by Ali reported that teachers feel overwhelmed as they attend to the needs of students who are on site and the students who are online. It's really difficult, in a regular class when you are managing just one set of students. That's all already challenging. However, in Hyflex, you are managing two sets of students, those who are on site and those who are online. And sometimes you experience technology glitches. Because of these challenges identified, it is important, particularly when you're going to use hybrid Hyflex in basic education, even in higher education, you have to consider how you're going to manage your class. Okay, that's why it is important that classroom management becomes a priority when you're using hybrid or Hyflex. Now, Brophy in 2006 said that classroom management is a term used to describe the ways a teacher sets and enforces classroom behavioral and academic expectations to create an environment that is conducive to learning and student interaction. So, two things you're going to focus on when you're discussing about classroom management. You are focusing on certain behavioral standards, and number two, your academic expectations. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some tips based on studies conducted, particularly in the use of Hyflex learning modality, not only in the tertiary level, but also in the lower grade levels. It is important that you plan well. That's the first thing, okay? Remember that in planning, you're planning for two sets of students, those who are in the classroom and those who are, online. Okay. So unlike in a regular classroom setting, when you're just focused on the class, the students who are going to attend your class, okay, this time you have to make sure that you are planning for two sets of students. Okay, so how are you going to do that? Maybe you're asking me now, how can I do that? Well, based on studies, okay, you have to make sure that first and foremost, you need to navigate technology. And how are you going to do that? You ensure that, for you and for your students, online you have a reliable internet connection. I think that's the, basic consideration that has to be made, a reliable internet connection. So that's one. Okay. Um, for online students, okay, it's also expected that they have a strong internet connection. Okay. And of course, because we already learned this, okay, in the past 2 years, for young children, you need significant adults who can assist these children. However, for older children, they can do this on their own. Now, for the teacher, okay, how are you going to uh, to navigate technology? Number one, you can ask a co-teacher if you have a partner or a co-teacher or a student volunteer to assist you monitor the synchronous chat for you and alert you if there are questions from the online students. Okay, so it can be a co-teacher. Now, if it's impossible for you to ask a co-teacher to be with you while you conduct your classes, you can assign your students um, to be on guard and inform you. So consider giving points or other incentives to students who are going to help. Okay, so that's very important. So again, you're not alone in terms of navigating technology. What we're asking you now is to ask for an assistance. Ask your co-teacher or ask a student to help you, inform you if there are certain needs that the online learning, because most of the time, I'm sure your attention is focused on the students who are in the classroom. But that can be, helped by other people or by the students themselves. So if you will be able to train your students to assist you, okay, in terms of being observant, and then be able to inform you exactly, if their classmates who are online need assistance, they can inform you. So that would be a big help for you as a teacher. Okay. Next, important that we also need to set expectations. Okay, so if the first tip is for you to navigate technology, number two, you also need to set expectations. So, what are the expectations that you need to set? Okay, for students who are in the classroom and students who are at home. And who have opted to do online learning. Okay, for example, this is just an example in one study conducted. Okay, for example, you have classroom expectations. So classroom expectations can be, you can be kind, be safe, and be honest. So in terms of being kind, this is for early childhood or for very young children. You need to share toys, materials. You need to take turns while speaking. You raise hand when you want to speak. You have to arrive at school on time. You have to clean up the classroom, follow teachers' directions, and be do things that would show kindness. Now, for online learners, there are specific set of behaviors that you also need to expect from them, like turning on the camera. Okay, if they want to speak, they have to stay muted when the teacher or other students are speaking. Take turns when speaking. They can raise hand using Zoom and before speaking, and then logging in class sessions on time and following teachers' directions. So you see that you are now setting expectations to different groups of students.